Hello, hello, yes, hello, hello, thank you for coming, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Conversations That Will Never Actually Happen. My name is EK, and as always, we'll be discussing many entertaining conversations that no one will actually have. Today's episode, we're going to be featuring conversations about language proficiency. Ooh! So without further ado, take it away!
Oye, chica, es la noche de sábado. ¿Por qué tú estás aquí jugando juego y no sales con el chico estadounidense? Ay, no. Tuve que dejar de salir con él porque él sigue diciendo el agua en lugar de el agua. ¿En serio? No lo puedo creer. Es malo que le diga cosas como rompido, escribido. Sí, lo dijo. ¡Qué tonta! ¡Qué idiota! Dice cosas como un niño. ¡Qué imbécil!
Ooh, I would feel sorry for that boyfriend of hers if it were a conversation that would actually happen. Now, we have a very exciting show for you all tonight, but first, a word from our sponsor. What's up, everybody? What's good? My name is EK, and welcome back to What's Good English. Now, today we're going to do a little bit different of an episode. Una de las cosas que siempre quería hacer en mi canal ha sido presentar cosas a los demás sobre mi aprendizaje de otros idiomas de español, porque aprendí muchísimas cosas el año pasado que me ayudaron muchísimo en mi proceso y las cosas las cosas que aprendí durante mi aprendizaje de otros idiomas en mi pasado, porque es una lucha y sé bien la lucha de aprender idiomas y también soy una persona que siempre le gusta ayudar a los demás, así que estoy aquí presentando mis consejos a vosotros. And I hope what I say in this channel really does help people out in their language learning journey. So today's episode, we're going to talk about what is fluency. And make sure you stay to the end because I've got a really cool exercise that we can all do. It doesn't matter if you actually have fluency in another language or not. We can all do it and it will demonstrate to you exactly what fluency feels like. So the first thing I want to say about fluency is that we need more vocabulary to talk about levels of fluency with the whole language learning process. We have the word fluent and we have conversationally fluent, but what does that even mean? Does that mean that you can have a conversation about every single topic that you can in your native tongue? Or does that mean that you have the same fact-finding conversation with everyone that you meet on the street?
¿De dónde has viajado? A mí me encanta comer comida italiana, especialmente pasta. ¿Cuál es tu película favorita? Basta. Yo solo quiero tener una conversación sobre cosas normales. Estoy harto de hablar sobre mi familia, mi trabajo, película, comida. Ya, yo no puedo soportar. Ay. No te entendí bien.
Now, another thing I want to point out is, and I think it needs to be said, even though it's pretty obvious to all of us, we seem to all get hung up on this, and that is that you're never going to know all the words. It's just not going to happen. We don't know all the words in our own mother tongues. I still get surprised every few weeks or every couple of months that there's a word that I want to use that I didn't know existed for the exact thing I wanted to say. Anyways, even if you could get some sort of cybernetic implant from the future, like cyberpunk or whatever, that translated everything perfectly in your head, you would still find yourself completely in the dark when you run into conversations like this.
Yeah, man, I was there when she came in. She had that dress, and it was oh, dude, I just got the chip. I got the cybernetic language chip thing, man. Say something in Spanish. Hey, man, you see him on the phone, right? Oh, my bad. That dress had like exquisite frame data. That's what I'm saying, though. It was like plus 38 on block. Right, on block, homie. Like, straight up, invincible first frame. Six frame startup, invincible from frame 1 to 3. Word. Dude. plus 67 on hit. You take like a bite out of sandwich in between a link, man. No, stupid crazy, man. No, I was like, oh man, no, it was insane, man. It was insane. Hey, but like, no, the attitude was like -2 on hit. What language even is that?
If you really wanted to understand every single conversation that everyone has in your language of choice that you're learning, you would have to, one, find everyone and be a part of every single one of their inside jokes, and learn all of the jargon that every community has they use in their common speech. And quite frankly, ain't nobody got time for that. So, why do we feel the need to aspire to that goal or to judge ourselves and, more importantly, judge others on their fluency by that standard that is impossible to reach? Oh, but what if you find yourself in some random conversation about a topic that you're unfamiliar with? What are you going to do then, huh? What? I personally don't know a lot of vocabulary around the medical field, or better yet, auto repair. If I have to go into an auto shop and tell them what's wrong with my car, my conversation in English or Spanish is going to be like, bueno, mi coche, bueno, se me ha descompuesto. Yo no sé qué es el problema. Por favor, ayúdame. Now, yes, if we flipped open the hood of my car, I would be able to name more parts of it in English than Spanish. That is just how life works. Vocabulary words, through the process of living, will take up residence in your head, whether you want them to or not. Pero estas conversaciones no me dan muchas ganas de tener en español, así que no busco las palabras porque prefiero que la gente me converse sobre otras cosas. I also have a lot of old vocabulary floating around in my head from past jobs I've had that I never use because I wouldn't expect anyone, native speaker or not, to know the same words that I do about those subjects. And if I did have a conversation with them about one of those terms, I would use just regular old layman's terms instead of using the actual $5 words that I could in that conversation, unless they were to demonstrate to me that they were also an expert in the same field. Our TV shows and our movies don't even hold us to a high standard of fluency, even though they cover a wide variety of topics. If you watch a lot of shows like I do, you'll notice that the language that people use in them is actually very basic and easily digestible for everyone. And even though, yes, we do have a lot of shows that cover very complex topics like law and medicine and politics, you'll find that when people use terminology that is really specific and distinct, they instantly cut to someone who explains what those terms mean in very basic, easy to understand language so that everybody understands what they're talking about.
Ooh, hey man, you don't look so good. Oh, the worst. Oh. Now, I've seen this before with a friend of mine. I think you need an appendectomy. Wait, you have to take out my appendix? Have you determined what the killer's MO is yet? No, sir. We still haven't determined how he's finding his victims. All right. Let me know when you do. Oh, but sir, all of the victims were wearing Street Fighter shirts. What?
Now, yes, there is a baseline level of vocabulary that is necessary to be fluent in another language, but armed with the knowledge that I've just given you about our entertainment, would you then say that a person that has to explain something that they want because they don't know the actual word for it is less fluent when they're able to explain it and stay in their target language?
Oye, ¿quieres que te ayude? Oh, sí. Yo quiero colgar una pintura en mi pared y yo necesito las herramientas para colgarla. Dale, ¿necesitas un martillo y clavos? Sí, son esos. Sí, venga conmigo. Ah, vale.
What about grammar and all those grammatical errors, or just making tons of errors in general when we speak? Well, I've said it before and I will continue to say it over and over. Los errores nos ayudan. If being fluent is speaking without errors, then I am not fluent in any language. And every single one of us has had some sort of misunderstanding or has even gone down the road of saying a sentence and then instantly realizes that we're actually creating a grammatical structure that is bad or that will not work and the sentence won't make sense. And we either bail on it or we continue to just complete that sentence and hope that the other person understands. And guess what? Nobody cares. Think about conversations that you have with people that don't natively speak your mother tongue. Do you stop and point out every single mistake they make in a conversation, or do you just let all of the errors ride because you understand? Personally, when I'm speaking Spanish, nobody ever points out every single little mistake I make, even though I do make a lot of errors still, but they do occasionally stop me if they need further clarification on something because I said something completely out of whack. And that's a struggle that all successful language learners have, is that eventually we get to this point where people stop correcting us because they prefer to just not impede the flow of that conversation. It's really a great compliment. You are making so much sense to them that they don't want to stop and say, hey man, you should have said lo instead of la, or some other little grammatical aspect that really didn't impede their understanding of what you were saying. It's something that we need to celebrate for ourselves instead of wondering why people have stopped doing it. So what really is fluency? I really prefer the Spanish word for fluency, la fluidez. It's the fluidity. Do words fluidly flow out of you like an uninterrupted stream of water when you're talking? And do all the grammatical structures magically seem to fall into place so you can just keep going and going and going? Or do you have to stop and think about it and access your mother tongue to help you construct a sentence that grammatically makes sense all the time? If someone were to ask you a question in your target language, would you instantly and automatically be able to respond without thinking and give your own opinion or insight about what they've just asked you? Fluency, o la fluidez, simplemente es cuando las palabras salgan de ti sin pensar. And yes, there are going to be times where you have to stop and think, but those times where you stop and think are going to be similar to the same pauses and breaks that you would have in conversations in your own mother tongue.
Papá, ¿qué es un tatuaje? Oh, ¿qué es un tatuaje? Bueno, es cuando una persona le gusta mucho una imagen y quiere llevarlo para siempre en su propio cuerpo. Así que ellos visitan a una persona que usa tinta y pone tinta debajo de piel para que su piel se vea así. Cuando yo sea adulto, querré muchísimo. Ah, yo también, hijo. Yo también.
I told you all at the beginning of this video we were going to do an exercise that was going to show you exactly what fluency feels like, and we're going to get into it right now. The concept behind it is something I'll be explaining a little bit more in my video about my freshly bilingual brain, so make sure you stay subscribed so you can see that video when it comes out in a little bit of time. Anyways, here we go. Now, I said somewhere in the beginning of this video that we all seem to gain vocabulary just through the process of living that just hangs out in our head forever. And some of that vocabulary is from another language that we don't speak. So what I want everyone to do is think of a language that you know how to say something in. Now, it has to be a language that you are not actively learning or that you have already learned and have fluency in. So once you think of that language, now I don't know whether you know how to count to 10 in that language or if you know a few choice phrases, but just think of the language, not the actual phrases. And what I want you to do is when I say go, I want you to pretend as if I have said something that is a question in that native tongue, and I want you to respond with whatever phrase comes to your mind first in whatever language you're thinking of. And I'm going to do it with you guys, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, go. Hajimemashite. That is what fluency feels like, except it feels that way for the entirety of the language. Now, the reason that exercise works is when you're learning a foreign language or when you just pick up random vocabulary for a language you don't really care about learning, your brain just throws all that stuff at the bottom of your mother tongue's native dictionary, so you're accessing it from the same dictionary that your brain is very familiar with. Cool trick, huh? Alright, so that does it for the fluency episode. Probably the first of several episodes about fluency. And I hope it really did help clear up what fluency is, or at least how I define it. It's not some giant living in a hillside somewhere or memorizing all the vocabulary in the dictionary. It's just fluidly being able to understand and be understood. Anyways, if you did enjoy it, please leave me a like. Please leave me a comment and let me know what you thought about it. And consider subscribing to the channel. I really do want to share more videos like this where I share some of the things that I learned along my language learning journey because I think it can really help you out and it's really fun to talk about. Anyways, I will be back Tuesday with another Storytime Tuesday episode, and you guys take care. Ciao.
Mi madre me dijo que ya no podemos ser amigos porque tú no sabes la diferencia entre pasado perfecto y defendido y tampoco sabes la futura. Mira, tu tercera está yo me
emotionally scar that young lad for life, and he'll have trouble both making and maintaining friendships in his future, as well as putting himself under an undue amount of stress when he's trying to learn a foreign language, if he can even do that. Or at least it would if it weren't for the fact that it was a conversation that will never actually happen. You've been great, everybody. You've been great. Be sure to tune in next week when we talk about how much we love reading about people's life experiences when we're searching for recipes on the internet. Good night. Good night, everyone. Good night. Good night.